They thought the story had already been written. Khabib retires, the division breathes, and the Dagestani era fades. Then a quiet man from the same mountains walked in and shut the door. Islam Makhachev doesn't shout, he doesn't posture. He arrives with a measured look, a simple prayer, and a game plan that feels inevitable by round 3. To understand his rise, you have to start where the air is thin and the rules are simple. Work, respect, repeat. In Dagestan, combat isn't a pastime. It's a way to shape character. He grew up in the village of Burshi, where mats are worn thin by thousands of drills. Wrestling and sambo are as common as school and chores, and hovering over that scene was a teacher whose lessons forged champions. Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, he didn't just build fighters, he built systems. Under Abdulmanap, success was never a mystery. It was math. Position plus pressure equals choice, and your opponent always chooses the worst one. Islam listened more than he talked. He learned the quiet arts balance that feels like gravity, trips that look accidental, grips that disappear until you're drowning. Combat sambo gave him weapons from every angle. Throws control, submissions delivered without panic, like he's paying a bill he expected. When the UFC called, the bright lights didn't change the routine. Tape the hands. Bow to your coach. Place the ring of prayer on your tongue and step forward. He won, and he kept winning, until he didn't. One counter, one perfect shot, and Islam's early UFC run met a harsh lesson on a Brazilian right hand. That loss to Adriano Martins could have haunted him. For many prospects, it becomes a ceiling. For Islam, it became a file note. Don't make that mistake again. He came back, not with rage, but with refinements. Tighter entries, safer pressure. Control that left judges nodding and opponents staring at the clock. What looks simple is highly engineered. He doesn't shoot wild doubles. He walks you to the fence, crowds your hips, drops his level, and converts with almost boring certainty. And if you do get up, he makes that his trap. He rides the back. He laces the legs. He breaks your posts. It's wrestling that feels like a slow tide. The submissions come when you pray for the bell. Arm triangle, kimura, rear naked, from Dagestan to Dubai. The choke is the same story, no space, no hope, tap. Fans outside the region saw Khabib's shadow everywhere. He's the sequel, they said. The team didn't argue, but they knew. Islam was writing his own script. Khabib's voice remained at his shoulder, and so did the system. After Abdulmanap's passing, the room held on to the rules. Discipline doesn't die when the teacher does. By the time he earned a shot at the belt, the matchup was theater. Shackless Oliveira, all offense and chaos, versus a man who prefers order and closure. Islam didn't blink in Abu Dhabi. He corralled the wild horse, rode him to the canvas, and closed the show with an arm triangle like a door latch sliding in place. The moment mattered, but the message mattered more. The lightweight crown hadn't changed. Heads it had returned to the same gym. Then came the test of pound-for-pound myths. Alexander Volkanovski, a smaller man with a bigger aura, stepping up from featherweight to challenge the mountain. Their first fight became a chess match in a wind tunnel. Islam edged it with control and moments of clean striking, surviving a furious last-minute surge. Critics argued, as critics do, was Islam truly the best? Was he only a wrestler? Did he have the hands for a pure striker? The rematch answered in capital letters. A left high kick, framed and fired like a postcard from the camp. We heard you, we fixed it. Sincerely, the team. And then, Dustin Poirier, beloved and battle-proven, tried to drag Islam into the kind of dogfight that makes hearts roar. Islam brought him into deep water instead. Ankle pick, ride pressure, a final choke that looked gentle until his arm sank, and a veteran tapped with the resignation of a man who knows exactly what got him. Across those defenses, Islam's striking improved in plain sight. Straight shots, careful counters, a timing that earned respect rather than demanded it. He doesn't chase highlight reels. He chases stable positions. That's not a slogan. It's why the engine rarely breaks. In the corner, Khabib's cues are short. Breathe, control the wrist, step over. It's the language of craftsmen, not gladiators. With each win, the questions got bigger. Could he move to welterweight and chase double champ history? Could the system scale with size? He didn't rush to answer. He kept doing what he's always done: show up, get better, listen, repeat. The public debate can sprint. Islam jogs to the same beat. Part of the intrigue is cultural. Dagestan produces discipline the way other places produce pop stars. The mountains streamline the ego. Training is Spartan. Sparring is honest. If you're late, someone else takes your round. If you're sloppy, there's nowhere to hide. The Dagestani handcuff, the ride, the wrist trap, it's not magic. It's relentless tutoring, day after day, until muscle memory stops asking for permission. Opponents speak about something hard to quantify. Fatigue that isn't just physical. The hopelessness of knowing every escape is already mapped. Islam's calm feeds it. He doesn't celebrate takedowns. He resets, closes the shelf on your hips, and clocks in for more minutes at the office. He's not invincible. Nobody is. But his margin for error is thinner because his choices are narrower. Fewer risks, fewer surprises. Weight cuts, travel, late notice, opponent Saul, the chaos of MMA. He meets with the same blank weather face. It unsettles people who rely on turbulence. His faith is visible but quiet. He thanks God, he thanks his coaches, he thanks his family. In a sport that rewards noise, he is stubbornly muted. That doesn't mean he lacks edge. Ask anyone who's felt his shoulder pressure. Ask anyone who reached for a post and found only gravity. Look at the list he's beaten. Submission artists, knockout artists, scramblers, veterans, champions. He respects them, he smothers them, he moves on. The narrative that he's just Khabib 2.0 collapses under tape study. The base is similar, the choices are different. Islam prefers chains, Khabib preferred crush. You can see it in the fence work. Islam sits you, laces your legs, and climbs methodically into threats. It's a staircase with no missing steps. In open space, his jab has become a survey tool. He measures, he doesn't sell fakes, he can't cash. He hits what's open and refuses to fall in love with applause. That maturity is why a single punch loss never snowballed. Some fighters return angry. Islam returned organized. He's also durable in the moments that rattle others. When Volkanovski sprawled, when Poirier reversed, he trusted the map, not the mood. The camp around him acts like a firewall. Coaches who cut jokes in the locker room and apply clamps in practice. Teammates who know your tells and exploit them until they disappear. This story isn't a fairy tale about destiny. It's a manual about preparation meeting opportunity, again and again, until the outcome looks faded. If he goes to welterweight, he won't chase biceps, he'll chase leverage. He'll bring rides up a weight class and test whether physics speaks the same language at 170. Welterweights hit harder, but they also breathe the same air on the fence. If Islam gets there first, the questions become familiar. Can someone force him into wild exchanges? Perhaps. Can someone deny the cage, punish his entries, and scramble without losing limbs? That's the puzzle. He's already shown one solution: against kickers crowd them, against boxers clinch them, against grapplers outposition them and make them doubt their first love. The casual fan may still ask, why does this style win so much? The answer is, sport agnostic. Control wins. In football, it's possession. In chess, it's center squares. In MMA, it's hips. Islam's hips are the quiet center of storms. Watch how he glues a knee to the mat, how he shelves a thigh, how he turns your bridge into a gift. In the room, they drill small truths. Your head is a post, your elbow is a door, your wrist is a leash. Master enough small truths and big moments get tamed. It's not glamorous, and that's the point. Glamour fades under sweat. Systems don't. Some nights the crowd boos, the grind. Islam doesn't boo back. He shrugs. He understands that cheers don't count on scorecards. Every champion faces accusation and rumor. He's met them with denials and returned to the mat. Time has a way of sorting noise from notes. What you can't deny is the consistency. Camp after camp, he shows a version of himself that is 2% better in places you barely notice. Watch the feints before he shoots. Now, watch the small angle steps off the jab. Watch the way he rides wrists without wasting a grip. These are the invisible upgrades of a champion who isn't seduced by his own highlight reel. He's seduced by clean tape on Monday morning. He speaks about legacy like someone who thinks in decades, not weekends. Titles are snapshots. Habits are the film. That's why rivals' names don't stick to his interviews for long. He answers, smiles, and returns to the thing that actually builds a future reps. What does his story teach? That greatness can be quiet. That violence can be clinical. That humility isn't weakness. When paired with ruthless consistency, the role of faith matters here. It acts like a metronome. Good days, bad days. Same rhythm, same gratitude. Same refusal to make yourself the center of the universe. You see it when he wins. He points up, hugs his team, remembers the man who started it all. Abdulmanap's rules haven't bent. In that sense, Islam is not merely an heir. He's a caretaker. He keeps the room orthodox. He updates the playbook without changing the book. If the sport is an argument about styles, Islam argues with exhibits. Here is control time. Here is positional dominance. Here are the taps. And yes, here are the knockouts, the head kick, the timed lefts. The shots that prove growth isn't a slogan on a wall. It's a thing your opponents feel. You can measure his success in belts and rankings. Or you can measure it in how men who fight for a living talk about him afterwards. Tired, honest, they describe a weight that doesn't come from muscle. It comes from pressure distributed properly, from intent applied calmly. That calm is unnerving. Most fighters need noise to perform. Islam looks like a librarian filing you away undersolved. He isn't chasing celebrity, which makes celebrity chase him. The fewer stories he tells about himself, the more others tell on his behalf. For fans of chaos, he's not always a favorite. For fans of mastery, he's a case study. His fights are not roller coasters, they're demonstrations. By the end, you know why the result happened. And yet, within that control lives risk. Ask anyone who's tried to finish submissions at elite levels. Fail once, and the whole position flips. Islam threads those needles. He does it because he chooses high percentage moves at high percentage times. If there is a formula to dominance, that's the headline. So where does the road lead? Perhaps to a second belt. Perhaps to a long run that makes new fans appreciate an old truth. Efficiency is exciting when you understand it. Maybe the real story isn't whether he captures more divisions. Maybe it's that he's normalized excellence the way his mentor did. Same room, new chapter, and because of that, every contender at lightweight has to answer a Dagestani question. Can you live with this pressure for 25 minutes? Some can, for a while. None have solved it for the full hourglass. The sand keeps falling the same way. Whenever Islam finally slows, it won't undo the thesis he's proven. You can build a dynasty on fundamentals and quiet. His legacy will include names we know and names we haven't heard, yet teammates rising, kids in Dagestan drilling in cold gyms, coaches repeating the same cues: breathe, control the wrist, step over, 3 steps to winning rounds and lives. If you're looking for an untold angle, remember this. Islam wasn't anointed by marketing, he was appointed by results. He took the harsh math of his only UFC loss and balanced the equation, one exacting performance at a time. He earned a reputation as the sports problem you can't solve with one weapon. You need a toolkit. Even then, you might just delay, not deny. And he did it while staying small ego, small circle, small talk. The work was always the loudest thing in the room. That's why his walkouts feel inevitable. The song plays. The face is unreadable. The plan is already halfway done. When the bell rings, you can almost hear the checklists clicking. Pressure, fence, trip, ride, threat, finish. If not, repeat. The crowd will chant for the underdog or the knockout. Islam will chase position until the finish introduces itself. When the ref pulls him off, he doesn't pump his chest. He points upward, finds his corner, and listens for what he can do better next time. That's the mind of a champion who has learned the hardest lesson in sports. You're only as good as your habits allow under stress. Islam Makhachev is the habit of excellence, wearing 4-ounce gloves. He is the system that survived its creator and kept improving. Wherever he goes, another division, another defense. The story remains simple. Control the controllables, respect the craft, trust the room. In a sport addicted to noise, he is signal. Clean, repeatable, relentless signal. And if you're wondering how the mountain keeps producing champions, don't look at the summit, look at the path. It's walked every day, in silence. That's the story of Islam and the UFC. Less thunder, more rain, not a flash in the night, but weather moving in, steady and certain. And long after the headlines change, the film will still say the same thing. Fundamentals age well. Champions built on them last. If you came for mythology, you found a manual. If you came for hype, you found a habit. Either way, you found truth under pressure. And that, more than any belt or call-out, is why his name sits comfortably beside the greats, written, not in exclamation marks, but in periods. Quiet sentences, clear outcomes. A legacy filed where all the hard things go. Completed.